What's going on, everyone? Nick from Comic Culture here. It's time for Nick at Night, my weekly comic book review show. We're going to get to the books I read this week, but real quick, it is that time of the year again. 2025 nominations for the Comic Book Community Award are live right now. I'll put the link down below in the description. Feel free to nominate me for any categories that make sense. I would really appreciate you guys' support this year, and I'll let you know when the voting period officially starts. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into the books I read this week. Starting over in Marvel, we have The Death of Silver Surfer. We have Peck on this one, Kumar on the art. So I will say a lot of people have been looking forward to this book. Amazing cover art on this series right here. So what was the story all about? We have a lamenting Silver Surfer, if you could imagine, going around right now, and he's interacting with a lot of the humans on Earth. There's some factions that are starting up. They're doing some kind of global patrolling, being superheroes of their own right, and they're mixing up with Silver Surfer inside of here. There's a couple of other threads going on. There's this like entropy in the universe and whatnot that Silver Surfer is having to contemplate about as well. And he's coming across these different heroes on Earth and having to deal with the drama that ensues from just that collaboration right there. I will say that the art inside the book is probably the best part about this. The story was okay. There were moments that were really interesting, but there are some visuals in here that are breathtaking inside the story. There's all these really cool panels and just interesting perspectives and kind of putting the pieces together from a cosmic scale down to a very singular, like person kind of point of view. Really interesting ideas going on inside the book in general. The story, I think, needs to catch up a little bit to it. I would say it's a little bit of a disappointment for me on the story side. There's some kind of hacky parts to it, I would say, but I am interested overall in seeing where the story goes. And if anything, man, grabbing these awesome covers right here. Pretty interesting book. Didn't quite meet the expectations, but I'll be checking it out for future issues. Let me know what you guys thought. Continuing Marvel, we have One World Under Doom from Ryan North and Silver right here. Issue number 5 was out. Really cool previous issue with Dormammu versus Doom. Doom not exactly fulfilling the role of the Sorcerer Supreme. Dormammu was able to get onto Earth. They had a one-on-one showdown. He banished all of the heroes away. Doom, up against the wall, had to bring all those heroes back and collaborate with them, team up with them to take on the threat, and that's exactly what we do inside the issue. I think the more interesting part in this book, though, is we still don't know exactly what Doom is really up to. He's given the world everything it wants. His rating is through the roof. Everyone seems to be prosperous right now. There's a lot of opinions about, like, is this guy actually legit or not? Even some of the heroes are not exactly on the same page. Thor comes down and drops some truth bombs about, his civilization and how it's prospered underneath a ruler, underneath a king, essentially. Tony's not really buying it. There's a lot of other members of the, broader Avengers team that are chiming in right now and trying to understand the real motives that Doom has right now. And that's really the most interesting part about this entire story. We're 5 issues in and we still don't know if he's legit or not, even though he keeps telling us over and over again that he's doing it for the benefit of the world, right? Of his legacy. And so what does that ultimately mean? We're going to find out. This is comic books, guys. Eventually something's going to happen, right? People are going to turn on Doom, or Doom's going to be the greatest hero of all time going forward. Is that possible? I don't know, guys, but it's going to be a fun ride either way. One World Under Doom number 5 is out. Let me know what you guys think. Let's continue Marvel with New Avengers issue number 1. We have Humphreys and Lima on this one right here. So a little hesitant to get inside of this, but it was actually better than I was anticipating. There were some moments in there that maybe roll my eyes a little bit, but the overall story was at least engaging and the artwork was pretty great inside the issue as well. It is your typical team building issue where we have Black Widow uncovering some horrible thing in some part of the world, and she's trying to recruit different members onto the team to, get the job done. They're actually pulling in some pretty ruthless people, and so the team is going to be very effective on paper. Let's see if their personalities can gel together inside the story. The villain they're taking on is a little bit weird right now, a little bit eye-rolly. There's some cloning of powers and things like that, so it's ultimately like this new Avenger versus familiar hero and villain teams. And so, we're going to see where this goes from here, what kind of villains or threats are going to take on in the near future, but it was at least engaging. The art was pretty cool, lots of action inside of the story, but does it have legs? That's really the question right here. New Avengers number 1, better than I thought it was going to be. Let me know what you guys thought. All right, let's jump over to DC real quick with Batman Dark Patterns. Issue number 7 is out this week, and this is very reminiscent of the second story of the Dark Patterns saga so far, where we don't have a singular villain. We have more of a concept or a location or a place, some kind of a vibe, which is the villain inside the story. And so Bruce is having to identify what that is. We see a murder that took place early on. We're trying to investigate what exactly is going on. It's in this real rough part of Gotham that seems to have transformed the entire landscape, and the minds of the people inside of there. But there's also something a little bit more grounded that might be at play here as well. Some kind of an old gang that we used to be in this area. And so we're going to be exploring a lot more of that going forward. So the old gangs of Gotham are going to be coming up inside of the story. And this is where Alfred can really kind of help out digging into the Wayne library to pull up some lore and whatnot that might help save the day. So pretty interesting story, great perspective shots in here, amazing artwork, of course. It's an intriguing Batman story, very much detective-like. If you missed the detective aspect of Batman, really check out Dark Patterns. That's all this has been so far, with 3 compelling stories to boot. So definitely check out Dark Patterns if you haven't yet. All right, let's continue DC with Aquaman issue number 6. Jeremy Adams on this one. I will say that I really enjoy liking an Aquaman book right now. I'm learning a lot about the character. I like all the interactions with the ancillary characters around him. The mission seems pretty true as well. So I'm digging everything I'm reading right now, but I feel like this is going to suffer the ongoing fatigue syndrome right here. So I would prefer a nice tight story, but it feels like we're on the way to go see the villain, and we keep running into all these different mini factions of bad guys and one-off characters that help us along the way, help us get through that one specific challenge, just, to create more issues. You know what I'm saying? Like, are they extremely relevant to the overall story here? I don't know. I don't think so. And that's just the burden of having an ongoing series. If this was a tight 6 or a tight 5 or something like that issue story, we wouldn't have had so many characters popping up to help for these small moments and then moving on. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it is cool that we're getting an Aquaman book. It's well written, it's well drawn as well. And so we're in that middle ground, right? Now, all that to say, I am really excited for the book. I'm looking forward to it every single month. And the ending of this book introduces yet another character, if you could imagine. And it brings all kinds of questions to my mind about how exactly this could be. What's this collaboration going to look like? And I'm really excited for issue number 7. So it does have the ongoing fatigue syndrome, I think, but it also is really well written. It's well drawn. The story is still compelling. I'm excited for it. So what am I complaining about? No idea. Issue number 6 is out. Let me know what you guys thought. Sticking with the all-in title, we have Absolute Batman issue number 9 out this week. Incredible introduction to the Absolute Bane character. A lot of crap online about the character design. I freaking loved it. I thought it was so cool. It's like a lot of body horror. It's gnarly. It's gross. It's grotesque. It's enormous. Absolutely loved it. It felt like the voice of Bane was there too. So I think the characterization and the visuals definitely match inside here. So I am all for it, which is great because I didn't really dig the previous arc. Now we're back at full force and I'm loving what I'm seeing so far. And again, this is basically a book about Bane taking over. He's in the underworld across seas, things like that. He's been recruited to go to Gotham right now to take on whatever threat is going on over there, probably Batman. And we get to see the introduction of these two characters and how formidable Bane is against Batman. And it really brings me back to the early days of those two interacting and how hopeless things felt for Batman. Definitely shows inside this issue as well. So if you're into Bane, if you'd like to see that Batman up against the wall, he doesn't know what to do, how could I possibly defeat this villain? You get it inside of this book in a way that we haven't seen before visually, I don't think. Issue number 9 is out. Incredible story. Definitely read it. Let me know if you did. All right, let's continue. DC, we have a Black Label, Quantum Karma. This is Resurrection Man, issue number 3, Ram V, Anard RK. We have Mike Spicer. We have Jeff DeCal doing all of the cover A's on this as well. Really, really awesome work right there. So Resurrection Man has been a pretty cool story. I don't know anything about the character in general, but this book is doing a great job of orienting you to the character, who he interacted with back in the day, his current life and situation. His power set is explored in ways that I'm told has never been explored before. And it's just a really cool trip through time. It's got those quiet, sensitive moments for people that are like in his life, how he interacted with them, what their life goals are, things they're tapping into the metaphysical, and his betrayal of them in a way, and how he's kind of sabotaging their work, trying to keep them safe and everything. And it's a really interesting story right there. It also touch bases on some of the people that he interacted with at the beginning of time. We have like Vandal Savage in here, how they're connected. It's kind of a Cain and Abel type of a situation, but they're interacting again in present day, and it's really interesting to see how they both evolved over time. We still have a character who's trying to deal with the ability to manipulate time, change the past. What does that exactly mean? How can he influence things or do things differently, rather? So it's a really cool book from that perspective, and we also have this really great villain from the previous issues coming back up as well. He's imbued with the power of immortality, in a really sick, sadistic kind of a way. And he's popping back up inside the story with great effect as well. So the visuals in here are great. It's a very, I don't know, metaphysical book, man. Ron V's doing a book about living forever and having to deal with consequences and changing the past and things like that. You know it's going to be trippy, especially with RK on the art as well. So it's a great, great book, guys. It's not for everybody, but if it's for you, I think you're going to love it. Definitely check it out if you haven't yet. Let's go over to IDW. We have TMNT issue number 9 out this week as well from Jason Aaron. We have Juan Ferreira on the art. The art is so good inside this book. There's not another artist out there right now doing what Juan's doing inside of these pages. And so I really like all the perspectives, the action scenes, how kinetic things look. Those nunchuck whirls, things like that, taking on mobs of people through building cutouts and everything. No one's doing work like that right now in comics. So shout out to the art side of this book for sure. It's been amazing. Story-wise, it's also catching up. Gone are the days of focusing on a single character. Now we're back as a team right now, although there's always going to be some infighting going on. There's some mysteries still to solve inside the story, but everyone seems to go out on their own and trying to solve the day, trying to solve the crisis, right? But they need to come together as a family, be reunited in order to do that. We're getting closer and closer to that moment inside of here. So the brothers are lost. They're coming back together. They're trying to be a unit yet again, and they're trying to rescue their brother that's been taken away from them right now and having to deal with the loss of Splinter and this weird analog that we have for Splinter inside the story. It's crazy. It's weird. I don't get it just yet. Maybe it'll be explained one day, but TMNT is pretty interesting right now. Amazing artwork. Story's definitely catching up. Highly recommend it. Let me know if you read it. Let's jump over to Titan Comics. We have Conan issue number 21. It's Panosian time. We got a great Panosian cover right there as well. So glad to have Conan back in my life right here. This one's really cool because we actually have a Conan who's a little bit in over his head at the moment. He's with his gang right now. They're going around. They're going to the next town, refueling, resupplying, getting some rest, things like that. But they uncover some dark truths behind this city right here. Everyone seems to be a little bit too happy, too accommodating for his liking. A lot of people fall into a trap, and Conan gets wrapped up into that as well. There's some human slavery things going on. There's people transporting people around, all kinds of crazy, shady stuff going on inside the story, and Conan's wrapped up inside of this as well. Everyone seems to be drugged, and they're in a weakened state, things like that, and he's having to overcome the odds and trying to survive the day. There's this new lady that shows up. I won't spoil it for Conan fans because I'm sure you guys know and love these characters, and she is kind of the ruler of all this right now, and we're being introduced to a lot of cool characters very quickly, and they're putting Conan in an unfamiliar position right here, which is back against the wall with no weapons, no resources, fatigued, worn out, and what are you going to do about it kind of a thing. So I'm really excited to have Conan back in my life right now. This was a great issue to jump back into. Let me know if you read it. All right, next up is the Umbrella Academy or Sparrow Academy issue number 1. This is Plan B from Dark Horse Comics. Of course, we have Gerard Way on this one. We have Gabriel Ba on here as well. And I really like this one a lot. I haven't caught up on all my Umbrella Academy comics, but I've caught up through the show. It was pretty good. There's some cool moments in there for sure. So if you're familiar at least with the show, you're going to recognize obviously a lot of the characters and whatnot. This is the Sparrow Academy layered on top of the Umbrella Academy. It goes over their origin story as well. And they actually coexist in the same universe right here. So we're having to deal with the repercussions of that. Now, you know, our classic Umbrella Academy characters, they're always down, right? They're always practically against each other. They're always under the boot, right? And the Sparrow Academy just seems like a way more mature version of the Umbrella Academy. So their initial confrontation here does not go very well, but it's not really about that. It's about the origin of this family, the current state of the world and whatnot, and how they are going to be used to influence the world rather in here. And so our Umbrella Academy heroes are going to be up against the wall trying to figure out what all this means. How is it possible? How could they combat such an amazing force? We're going to unpack it in future issues. Sparrow Academy number 1. Let me know if you read it. All right, let's check out Mad Cave next. Far down below, issue number 3, Chris Condon on this one. Kind of a YA title. That's what it's turning out to be, but that doesn't mean there's not some redeeming qualities for an adult audience inside of here. We're featuring 2 kids, Goonie style, going down below this old house. This house was in one of the kids' family, and his grandfather's down there, or great-grandfather, something like that. He thought the world ended a long time ago. He's been living in seclusion ever since, and these monsters have been around the whole time. He's having to deal with whatever kind of monsters that they've found down there, and he's, I guess, like a protector or something like that. So you have these weird interaction between this old guy and these kids right here trying to uncover the truth while trying to stay alive from all these different monsters and threats that they're witnessing down there. On the surface, we have our parents that are freaking out right now, going to the police, trying to figure out where their kids went. So it's that kind of a story right there. Very much a Goonie-esque kind of a thing. But It is pretty cool. The art is interesting. It serves the story for sure. Again, it just has that YA vibe to it, though. So it's not going to be anything totally shocking or dangerous, really. Everything's going to be fine inside the story, I would imagine. So it is pretty interesting still. So if you have some kids or you like YA books in general, maybe you want to check out Far Down Below. We have issue number 3 out. Let me know if you read it. All right, let's close things out over in Image Comics. We have Geiger issue number 15. We have Gary Frank on this one, Brad Anderson, and we have Jeff Johns doing the writing, of course, on here. The Nuclear Knight versus the Nuclear Woman comes to a conclusion inside of this book. I will say that this story has a lot of heart in it. We're actually empathetic towards our villain characters, or Ashley inside of here, our Nuclear Woman. Her history is awful, right? She has the same affliction that Geiger does. She can go radioactive. She's learned how to control it a little bit more. She's kind of a staple of her community at the moment, a protector, so to speak. But she also has a dark, dark plan and a way to get rid of her disease that she thinks she has, right? And Geiger's kind of the key to that right now. He's going to put him in a position where he has to save the day, and in doing so, it actually solves her problem of being a nuclear woman. And so we get that outlined for us inside of here, and it's pretty cut and dry, really easy. It happens really, really fast, I would say, but to great effect. I really like the way the characters are engaging with each other through that entire scene. I thought it was handled really well. So despite all the crazy action inside of here, there's actually some real great quiet moments too, some humanizing moments for pretty much all the characters, even our villains inside of the story. So we get to touch base with some of those people we met back in the first volume of Geiger, which is really cool to see. With all that said, though, we do have a couple of our main characters right here that are down at the moment. We're going to see how they recover and what their state will be after that moment. There's 2 different epilogues in here, and so it's going to give us a couple different perspectives. It's going to give us a couple different avenues for maybe some one-shots, things like that I would be really interested in the Geiger universe. So we have issue number 15 out. It concludes our Nuclear Knight versus Nuclear Woman story arc, but it spins us off into a couple different directions, which I'm really excited to see where they go from there. Great, great issue. Let me know if you read it. All right, next up on Image, we have Falling in Love on the Path to Hell, issue number 8 right here. Release schedule is kind of butchering the series, I would say. And that's really disappointing because it was a really great book, and I really wanted to get remember all those nuances from issue to issue. Some of those are being missed inside of here, but it is what it is. It's a fairly straightforward story, but there's still some things that I'm trying to remember as new issues come out. We have an introduction to our Mohan history inside of here. So the main guy who's kind of running the land right now, the armies against the dead, the character that's against our heroes right now. We get a short history lesson on who he is, the kind of character he has, and the kind of ruthlessness that we're up against inside of the story. So we get to see how much of a badass this dude really is. But, it doesn't give us all the context. It just reinforces what we already know, that this guy's already a scumbag. So there we are. Our heroes know there's an artifact inside of his base camp they need to obtain, right? It's kind of their key out of here. They're trying to get into that. So they have a plan to retrieve this item, and they're trying to go through that right now. But paths get crossed, things happen, signal flares go up, and now they're racing to safety right now as Mohan and his armies are fleeing from the undead horde that they have to fight normally to go kill our heroes right here. And they have some secret members now that they've added to their ranks that we're going to be seeing inside the story too, that have personal connections to our heroes, which is going to be interesting to see how they reconcile all of that. I would say, like, overall, the story is like a solid C+, B- kind of a story, but the artwork is really incredible inside of here. I just love the gritty textures and things like that. The coloring is done really well too. So there's a lot of great things happening from a art perspective. The story needs to catch up a little bit, I would say, to be honest there. But issue number 8 is out. It's a pretty cool series. I would recommend reading it in trade at this point, but let me know if you're reading it, what your thoughts are down below. We have Transformers issue number 21 out this week. Of course, Daniel Warren Johnson on this one, Jorge Corona, and we have Mike Spicer on it as well. Great, great cover right there featuring Shredhead and some of the other members right there. My reviews on Transformers have been essentially the same since issue number 1. Incredible action inside of here, great visuals. I'm liking everything I see. There's moments of heart inside here as well, so it humanizes all these characters. It puts it down into a way that we can understand. But man, the visuals inside of this issue, absolutely insane. We get some more Megatron action inside of here, leading an assault against the Autobots, and we get to see a lot of the Combiner Transformers as well, going head to head in here, bickering amongst the ranks, and seeing how effective they truly are against some of the Autobots and against some of the Decepticons Really, really great from a visual perspective. Story-wise, it's essentially the same as every other Transformer book right now. The Autobots are down, Decepticons are up and rebuilding their ranks. They pose a serious threat of wiping them out, wiping out humanity, and we just narrowly escape through some weird interventions and things like that, or new recruits to the Autobot side. So that's what we get inside of here as well. Some sacrifice plays here and there, some failed escaped attempts happen inside the story, and yeah, just some badass action inside of here. So great visuals. You Transformers fans are eating well right now. Mike Spicer is going to be over at Heroes. I'm really excited to meet him, doing an incredible job over there. Man, let me know what you guys think about Transformers. All right, let's wrap things up with giant-sized issue number 2. We have Lost Fantasy from Kirk Pierre's. Really great issue number 2. I think it was much better than issue number 1, and number 1 had some cool moments inside of it. The giant size issue probably helped that out because it was able to tell us a little bit more of the story. It gave us a lot more context about the world building, some of the other characters in here, how they interact with each other. But we do catch up with our hero right away, who was in this small town massacre kind of a situation. We understood some magical element behind all of that stuff, and we got to see a display of power there as well. So we're picking up from there, but we also introduce some more characters that are also investigating this small town magical event inside of here. Of course, you know, the sheriff and all those other people don't really know exactly what's going on. It's kind of a something's killing the children vibe, you know what I'm saying, with like a magic order element thrown on top of it. It's a pretty cool combination of themes, I would say. Something out there is possessing these people, turning them into monsters and whatnot. So our new characters that we meet inside this book have to deal with that threat, continue the investigation where our other hero left off, and we get to see them ultimately get together towards the end, trying to, you know, align objectives, things like that. There's obviously some history there they're trying to unpack, and it's just really cool and intriguing to see what's going on inside of here. Again, it's a mixture of a lot of cool things. If you like Something's Killing the Children, if you like magic order, if you like magical based sci-fi fantasy things, you want to see it in that small town rural area, this is kind of a book for you. I would highly recommend checking this one out. Lost Fantasy number 2 is out. Let me know if you read it. All right, guys, that's what I read this week. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what you read and what your favorite books of the week were down below. While you're down there, like, subscribe, share, hit that bell notification to be alerted whenever I put out new videos. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the comments.